Hey everyone, it's Carissa at sprinkledwithglitter.com. Thanks for joining me today. Today I am sharing an easy hand-stamped card that features some of my favorite products from the Essentials by Ellen line, and you're going to be surprised because I use that high five stamp and die set all the time. It has a great heart, some great sentiments, and I absolutely love the speech bubble. And when you combine it with the coordinating dies, it's absolutely so versatile. Now, I'm also going to be using the Swirl Background Die. This was released from the Essentials by Ellen line earlier this year. And I'm going to be creating a kind of almost a tie-dyed effect, not quite a tie-dyed effect. This is a multicolored stamping technique, but it is not super blended, and I did it this way on purpose. So I'm starting by mounting my swirl background stamp onto my MISTI, and I'm positioning my paper so that it's centered over the top, and I put a little bit of adhesive on the back, and then I closed my MISTI upside down to pick up my piece of cardstock so that I know that my background stamp and my cardstock are centered. I have the center of the swirl in the center of the cardstock, which is generally the goal. And I'm starting by inking up the center portion only of the stamp with the Catherine Pooler Meant to Be ink. And I'm going to just use my dry cloth here to swipe over the surface of this MISTI to make sure I get good ink transfer. Now, I did want to mention this is the new MISTI 2.0. They have improved the MISTI, and I'm absolutely loving it. And I can go into more detail about that new MISTI and the features of it in another video, but I did want to just point that out, that this is the MISTI 2.0. It has a great lip so that you can open the lid quite easily. Makes a huge difference as far as the stamping experience is concerned. Anyway, moving on. I've taken now the Catherine Pooler Aquatini ink, and I've just inked around the outer edge of this stamp with that, and then stamped it right over the top of my previously stamped image. Now it looks kind of like a mess right now. I'm not gonna lie, I was looking at it going, what have I done? But I wasn't gonna give up. So I'm taking the Meant to Be ink, and I'm inking up my stamp again, but this time I'm inking around like the outer 2/3 of this. And you'll notice each time that I ink, and I'm not inking the entire stamp, I'm using my dry cloth to kind of blot at the edges of this so that I don't have harsh lines. Then I'm going to stamp this down again. I'm going to rub all over the surface, and we're getting a little bit better. I'm getting that buildup of from light in the center to dark around the edge. Now, there were still some really kind of spots with a lot of gaps that I wasn't crazy about. So I went in with that Meant to Be ink again, just in certain areas. I didn't ink the entire stamp. And once again, blotting the edges of that inked up area with my dry cloth and stamping again. Now, to finish off the stamping, I went in one more time with the Aquatini ink, which is the darker of the two inks. And I inked the edges of this stamp, and then once again blotting it away so that I'm really just getting it concentrated around the outer edges of this stamped area. I'm going to stamp that down and rub all over it, and that completes my swirl background stamping. So a lot of steps there. It really didn't take that long, but you got to think about inks and they're blending together. It's kind of like when you're Copic marker coloring. Sometimes you have to bring in various layers of the light and dark inks to get the blend or the look that you're going for. So now I'm taking this piece and I am using some of the Essentials by Ellen Essential Rectangles. I'm using the 10th largest and the 13th largest. I have numbered mine so I know which ones they are to cut a couple of pieces from this cardstock. And I do have some pieces left over. But I'm going to use this small rectangle in the center and this larger frame around the edge. And that's why I absolutely love these Essentials by Ellen rectangles, because they create not only the rectangle itself, but the frame. So now I have the High Five stamp set from the Essentials by Ellen line, and I'm stamping the heart in the Concord and Ninth Grapefruit ink, and I'm stamping this sentiment in the Gina K Obsidian Amalgam ink, and then I'm lining up the coordinating dies, and I'm going to run that through my Gemini Junior to die cut these. Now, the Concord and Ninth Grapefruit ink isn't available yet in the ellenhudson.com store, but it will be here soon, and it is an absolutely beautiful color. You're going to want to pick that up when it comes into stock. Now, it was at this point that I decided to go ahead and bring in the Hands die set from the Essentials by Ellen line, and I wanted to create a darker skin tone hand set for this card. So I've run this through my die cut machine. You'll see that the hands don't cut the wrist. You can just go in and cut that with your scissors or your trimmer. But this craft cardstock was not quite right for a darker skin tone. So I am just taking a blending brush and some Over Coffee dye ink from Catherine Pooler, and I'm just blending this on. And I can then control how deep this skin tone goes, but I don't have to blend on all the ink to bring in a base color by using this craft cardstock. It starts me with a brown kind of base color that I can then build up with the ink, and it makes this process a lot easier. So if you're needing a darker skin tone colored cardstock, try blending some brown dye ink over a craft cardstock to create the depth of color that you want. So now I have all of my pieces ready to go, and I'm going to start assembling my card, and I'm going to start with adding some foam adhesive to the back of one of these hands. I thought I would only use one of these hands, but I ended up going in and adding both of them, and I'm going to adhere that right along the bottom of the center rectangle. And the part that's hanging over the edge of the rectangle, I'm just going to trim off with a pair of scissors. And then I'm going to add my speech bubble here in the center, once again using some foam adhesive. And then I'm going to slip my heart in behind that hand. So I was looking at this and I was thinking, how can I create the look of like kisses blowing, right? And so I just grabbed the triple heart stamp from the High Five stamp set. And I'm prepping the surface of this center rectangle with my powder tool because I'm going to do some heat embossing. So I'm stamping these 3 little hearts onto the hand, and then I'm going to kind of sprinkle them up the area of the card. And I'm stamping them here with Versamark ink because I'll go in and add my gold embossing powder over the top, and then I'm going to heat set that. And that to me was just kind of the illusion of like love or kisses coming from the hand and kind of blowing your way. It's my artistic expression. What can I say? And now I am taking this center rectangle piece and I'm removing the backer from the foam adhesive that I placed on that and placing it on to my card base that I've created using some Essentials by Ellen linen cardstock. I did bring in a T-square ruler to make sure that I got that straight on that card front. And now I'm adding some liquid adhesive to this larger frame, and I'm adhering that directly to my card base. Now I decided to go ahead and add that second hand onto this card design, so I'm just using some tape runner adhesive to adhere that to the bottom of this rectangle piece, and then once again I'm going to trim off the excess. And then I finished off this card with something that I thought made it a little bit funny. I typed out a sentiment that says Rona free, like Corona free. And I adhered it using some foam adhesive right over the top of that area that says kisses to finish off this card. Now, trust me, I am in no way making a joke of the pandemic that we are in. I just thought this would be a fun way to bring a smile to someone's face and let them know that it's safe. I also added a little bit of sparkle using some sparkling clear sequins, and I adhered those on using some liquid adhesive. So that completes my card today, featuring some of my favorite products from the Essentials by Ellen line. I really hope that you enjoyed this project. As always, I will have links to the featured products used in this project in the description at YouTube. But if you're looking for something in particular, go ahead and look in the YouTube description. I will have the coordinating blog post linked below, and you can find more information, more still shots, and a full, complete list of supplies over at the coordinating blog post. Once again, thanks for stopping by and hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed this project. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel so you won't miss any of the paper crafting and card making video tutorials I share here. Thanks again for watching. I hope you are staying well, and I hope you have a fabulous day.